Tonight, VHS versus DVD. I bring them on stage for a fight to the death. Then, the world is upgrading to high def, but how high is too high? And my guests, the May Digital Field and Editing class. Watch as they fall into the gorge of eternal peril. Plus, my sunburn update. Can somebody get me some aloe vera? This is the Training Report.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light, learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.
Welcome to the TCTV Training Show. I'm Peter Goodmanson, the media facilitator here at Thurston Community Television. The training show is comprised of videos made by students in the Digital Field and Editing class, which airs Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m., only on TCTV's Channel 22. If you want to be a part of the training show, give us a call at 956-3100 or log on to tctv.net and click on training. Well, without further ado, let's go on to our first student video. This one's made by Kara and Tracy. Let's take a look.
I think that healthcare is kind of a sensitive issue with people who are trans and non-trans alike, and the medical professionals are seeing people in their most vulnerable states. You need to have the knowledge of trans people in general, but then you also need to meet that person where they are individually. And I think that in doing that, you can give the person the dignity they deserve.
What I like about her is that she has educated herself about trans and queer issues and asked me lots of questions, and I don't feel judged by her, and she doesn't make assumptions about anything about me really, and she just asks.
I love my doctor. I've met with her before. She's great. She's enthusiastic, welcoming, queer herself, which is a plus in my mind. She knows a little more what coming out is like and that whole process. It took me a couple months to find a counselor that would deal with trans issues in Olympia, but when I did, I really appreciated their knowledge, and they were queer themselves, which was really exciting for me because I never knew queer counselors. I really appreciated their knowledge of other providers. Like the counselor I went to works with an endocrinologist or someone who gives out hormones, so they work together, and I really feel comfortable with that.
Her entire office is really knowledgeable, which I appreciate. It's not just her who knows all about hormones and transitioning. Her nurses do too. The woman at the receptionist desk knows everything, so her entire office is really on board and knows what's going on.
They kind of set a precedent that I've actually really enjoyed for my healthcare experience of kind of letting me lead how I'm going to do my transition while providing the medical advice to kind of tell me, make sure I'm not really overstepping anything or going to harm myself. It's based around me and what makes me happy, and if I'm getting what I want. They accepted that I knew enough about myself to call myself trans.
Having a great provider is a wonderful experience, and it makes going to the doctor okay. And for trans people and for myself, it's usually really terrifying. And so if if you have any inkling and any openness to provide care to trans people, there's a huge need, and you're gonna help people feel happy and free and get to be who they are. And I don't know that there's a huge gift that you can give there. So I really hope that people who are willing take the steps to provide really excellent care, and we need it.
You know, one thing I noticed about your movie is that there are a lot of speakers, and this is a good thing. This is a really important issue that a lot of people feel really strongly about. And so it's great that you used a bunch of different people to kind of share their thoughts on the subject. The first speaker I noticed was really quiet. This was a problem because the people after them were very, very loud, so just kind of, you know, all of a sudden out of the blue.
No, please, don't hurt me. I am too quiet. And my mic level needs to be boosted. No!
Nobody saw that, right? Well, this can be fixed by watching your mic levels when you're recording your subjects. And on the Canon GL2s, there's a little level on the LCD screen, and there's one on the side of the camera itself. So making sure to keep your interviews about the same level is good so you don't have your audience have a heart attack. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way. Not just the audio was too quiet, there was a hum in the background. Luckily, Final Cut comes with a bunch of cool audio filters that you can just drop onto your tracks in order to fix stuff that you might have screwed up while working in the field. And one of those tools is the low-pass filter, and that'll get rid of a lot of those high-frequency sounds like little mosquitoes in your ears that are just kind of annoying, and it'll tame the audio level a lot and make it a lot more tolerable to listen to. When you had your lavaliers set up in the studio, I could definitely tell that they were lavaliers. They sounded nice and clear, and there wasn't any background noise, and those just sounded great. So if the entire video had sounded like that, I would have given your sound a thumbs up. But that's just something to work on, is normalizing that audio throughout the entire video. The first clip also had much different lighting, I noticed. I know the second part you shot in our studio, and you used our lighting grids, and there was a big, big difference between those two clips. You could tell that the first one was shot in a low light situation because it was really grainy and it was very desaturated. So what you might want to do next time is bring a light kit that really illuminates their faces, gives them some color to work with. More color in your video gives your actors more warmth and is just more attractive to the viewer. One of your talent was centered in such a way that he had a lot of headroom, and I mean a lot of headroom. When your talent had that much headroom, it was distracting, and it was also different than your other interviews, which were centered a little bit better. Throughout your video, you had a bunch of title transitions, which is great, but one thing I noticed is that the audio abruptly clipped off sometimes, and especially when there are hums and stuff in the background, you can definitely tell that it just sounds a little bit sloppy. So what you can do is just throw on an audio fade to fade up from black and make that sound a lot more smooth. So you guys have a little bit of homework for your next video, but it looks like you're off to a good start, and congrats for passing the class. So let's go on to our next video by Jenny, and she's going to talk about the firefighters in the area. Let's take a look.
Anne. I am the wife of a volunteer firefighter. He's been doing it for about 2.5 years. I truly support him in doing what he does. It was rough the first year, and now it's just become a system of him being home one night, gone the other night, or just having to leave on a call. I truly love how they help the community, what they do for the community. They don't just serve with fires, they do community-oriented events such as like a Santa run and food drives and help anybody in need.
Hey, Gabe. Why did you end up volunteering anyway, man?
I was interested in becoming a career firefighter, and I figured volunteer was a good step in that right direction. I got hooked up with East Olympia Fire Department, and I became a volunteer down here. And also then I became interested in their residency program, and currently I'm the head resident here.
I just really wanted to do something for my community. I was really looking for something to do in where I was living, and really want to get active in the community, and thought this would be a great way to help out. And growing up, I always thought it was the coolest thing to be a firefighter. I always looked up to those guys like they were heroes, and my son looks up to me now and says, "Dad, you're my hero." It's always in the back of my head. It's not a priority for me, but it's always, I had that training, I had that fallback career now, and I've gotten trained through volunteering, and it's given me that fallback career that if I do want to make the change, that opportunity's there.
I was thinking about myself. I was hired 5 years ago, and I got a late start in the fire service. I was 47 when I started, and you started early, and you have a long career ahead of you. But I think what I'm trying to say about it is it's never too late.
I couldn't think of a better way to best job in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, any moment's notice, phones go off, excitement, you never know what you're going to.
The adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
You never know, if it's going to be a big fire or, you're going to save somebody's life. You never know until you get there.
Well, and when you think about it, what do we have? About 45 people in the department now. I think
still growing.
Most of the department is volunteers, and I have 45 friends who I know I can count on at any time, and great camaraderie. It's a lot of fun together.
I think of us, our whole department, as one big family. I mean, we have our banquet once a year, and we have barbecues, get-togethers, our shift. This is a shift, and I love these guys. I trust them with all my heart.
This was a good piece, Jennifer. Now tell me again, what was the name of the first woman who was on? She was a little bit cut off there. It's always a good idea to keep some lead room or media handles on your clips when you film it in the field. So when you start recording, count to 5 in your head or out loud, and then cue your talent to talk. This way, when you upload it later, you can capture this dead space before they start speaking and use it for transitions. So in the future, you can use media handles to your advantage and always use it in every single clip you take. I also noticed during that first clip that you could hear you fumbling with the mic in the background, and this is due to the nature of the mic. You were perhaps using an omnidirectional mic which captures sounds from all over, including your hand on the shaft of the mic itself. So if you want to avoid that in the future, what you can do is have them wear a lavalier and put a little sneeze guard on it so that the wind doesn't ruffle it either. Or you can use a shotgun, except put it on a stand so you're not, moving your hand around and capturing that. Any of those is acceptable. But generally when you hold a mic like that, sometimes you're going to pick up some of that noise, and it's a little bit iffy. If you're outside reporting in a thunderstorm, hey, you might be able to get away with it, but in a quiet atmosphere like that, you could definitely hear it. I really, really liked using that fire engine as a transition. That was great. That was a great segue into talking about the firefighters themselves. I hope that wasn't too dangerous of a scene to capture. It looked like it was about to run you over at one point. Gosh, I hope I'm okay. You had some good shots on some of the firefighters. You did a couple 2 shots, 3 shots, and some super close-ups. Now, I could hear cars going by in the background of the fire station, but that was okay because the talent was loud enough that you could hear them over these cars whizzing by, and it kind of felt a little bit busier and more exciting as a result. What I didn't like was that your camera was shaking around and you used long dissolved transitions when one video clip was ending and the other was beginning, you get that little part in between where they're both at 50% opacity, and yet your shots were jiggling so much that they were all over the place, and you were cutting to the same guy. It just looked really messy. And you can avoid that by using a different kind of cut. You can use like a split open cut, a wipe cut, just a straight cut. I mean, you can just throw in some B-roll too if you want more shots of the firefighters, preparing, getting ready, the engines roaring down the street, whatever, In the context of what he was saying, some appropriate B-roll might have been cool there. Aside from a couple flaws here and there, he did a great job in your video, and congrats to you for passing as well. We're going to move on to a video from Chris, and he interviewed somebody who likes to collect really creepy things. So, take a look.
Currently I have 1,869 horror films, and I don't know of anyone else in Washington who has that much, and is that much in depth and watches so many all the time. I could be wrong, but I haven't heard of anybody else, so that's my claim to fame. I really wanted to kind of review movies and point movies out for people who are horror fans but not necessarily knew about some of the really rare stuff, and so I really just wanted to give it a shot and infuse it with a lot of black humor. Yeah, VHS, it's definitely something that hasn't died for me. I usually would rather get a VHS in its original box cover and original artwork than buy a DVD. I don't really have anything against DVDs, but if the originals are still out there somewhere, I'd rather have that. But if I can't find it on VHS, or if it's so out of print, I'll buy the DVD. But I really like looking for those rare gems, and it's more of a treasure hunt too, to find a VHS and just go to the store and buy a DVD that anyone else can buy too. It also has that really grainy quality to it, where it works really well for horror movies. It's like watching it at a drive-in or an old grindhouse theater. It's kind of the closest experience to that as you can get watching it in your home. I recently found a movie called Fair-de-Lance. It's what Snakes on a Plane ripped off. It's about snakes on a submarine, and it was a TV 70s movie. The 70s really seemed to rock the horror on TV.
Where do you find these VHS horror movies?
A lot of them I've gotten over time going to pawn shops. I find them a lot at mom and pop video stores, independent video stores, Scarecrow Video. Get some off of eBay, some off Amazon, but I really love going out there and looking for them. On my time off of work, I like to go to like little podunk cities in like eastern Washington and Oregon, and even gone to Indianapolis, and I just kind of my idea of a vacation is going to a podunk city, staying in a seedy motel, looking at the phone book there, finding all the pawn shops and video stores in the area and just scouting them out, and then just coming home with a pile in my arms. It's pretty cool.
Saw a spider there. Whew. Creepy. Boy, Chris, that video was really well executed. Now, the guy's name was Dormarth? He never really introduced himself on the video, just with a rather short title at the beginning, and that could have been made a little bit clearer during his interview, who he was, but hey, he might have wanted to remain anonymous. Mysterious. There was some really creepy music going on in the background that I just loved. It sounded like some kind of organ and some other really atmospheric instruments. And this was just really great in capturing the mood of the guy's house and the movies he watches. Now at the beginning there was some B-roll of you walking up the stairs, and at the end you kind of looked around his place, but for the most part the camera was on him the entire time, with a couple interruptions to show movie titles, movie covers, and that sort of thing. I would recommend that you spend a little bit more time just exploring his place. It looks like he has a lot of really cool trinkets and things that you could just get nice close-ups of, and a bunch of stuff to use as B-roll to give the viewers kind of a break from looking at this guy. Not that he's, scary to look at or anything, but it just gets a little stagnant after a while to be looking at the same image, for a couple minutes. Just keeping on that same shot for minute after minute just made me a little bit groggy. Don't be afraid to unlink your video and your audio in order to put a certain clip over a different audio. You can achieve some really cool effects that way. At one point, the cameraman asked the talent a question, and the audio was a little bit lower, so what you can do is just turn on your audio envelopes, your rubber bands, your mountains, whatever you want to call it, and just put a little pen dot in there and boost up his section, and then bring it back down when your talent starts talking again. Either that, or you can add some subtitles as to what the cameraman was saying. So that's a couple different ways to understand what's going on. I really liked the ending. That was just excellent. You hear a little click, and the lights go out, which is just cutting to black. And this is a really, really effective trick that just works perfectly with this topic. So, great job, Chris. And with that, we're going to go on to our training tip of the day. Stay tuned.
And now, the training tip of the day. Bringing you new, cleaner colors, exciting, dramatic voiceovers, fresh new scent. Now, phosphate-free, industrial strength formula. Now, 20% more. And earth-friendly too. The drawing board. This is Freddie. Freddie is planning on creating a video project. In order to create a good, successful video project, one that doesn't take forever and cause pain and suffering to Freddie and all of his friends and cast and crew, Freddie must plan ahead. One of the first, most important steps to take that Freddie needs to do is to create a storyboard. Yes, that's right. Fun little pictures that describe what he's going to do scene by scene. By doing this, he has a plan, and his plan gives him the opportunity to make decisions that might be different than what he had first envisioned. Freddie has an idea. Yes, Freddie realizes that when he draws his drawing board, he needs to go make a site visit. So Freddie thinks and decides where he's going to go. So let's go see your site. Let's go check it out. This is the site location. This is the place that Freddie wants to film. It's important to check the scene out and investigate what exactly things are going to be like. If Freddie had not done this, he would be completely surprised. So Freddie is going to check out camera angles, soil samples, trees, shadow, the angle of the sun, the angle of his camera, where he wants people to stand, where he wants people to run around and do things. Freddie is very, very smart because he's planning ahead and making decisions before he makes decisions. Yes, Freddie, you've done well. Telling people where to go and what to do, that's the way to make a good project. Golly whiz, look what Freddie has discovered. He has found a structure, one that he had not anticipated. Because Freddie made a site visit ahead of time, he can make decisions now instead of at the time of filming. Freddie can anticipate new equipment that he might need. He can remove debris, check out camera angles, and make important decisions without having to aggravate his crew, who would wait for him while he makes a decision on the spot. Freddie is smart. He has planned ahead. Now, Freddie, let's go check out the equipment that you will need. Freddie is ready to jump right in. The first thing that Freddie will need is a tripod. Camera with stable shots are very good. Yes. Now let's place the tripod on the counter and let's get some headphones. That's right. Headphones are good. How about some XLR cables? Those are nice. And after that you'll need a shotgun mic. That's right. And you should get a cardioid mic as well, over there behind you. That's good. Now you'll need some AV cables for your video work, and you should get a power cable as well. A power strip would be nice, over there. Yes, excellent. Now, an important thing to get would be a light kit, just in case your lighting is bad and you film into the deep, dusky hours. Also, you'll need a mic stand to put your mics on. Excellent. Hey, grab a phone. Yeah. Now, you should get a stapler, and a pen, and a sponge. Now, I think you're ready for your contract that outlines all the equipment that you have checked out. Now, let's go back to the drawing board. Say, what are you doing, Freddie? Oh, we're showing off with special effects. Well, Freddie, you're ready. But first, we're gonna put you back in the drawing board.
Well, thanks for watching this month's episode of the TCTV Training Show. Don't forget, the training show airs Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. only on TCTV's own Channel 22. If you want to become a part of the training show, you must first become enrolled in the digital field and editing class. So, call 956-3100 or go online to tctv.net and click on training for more information about that. But remember, you must be a current member of TCTV and you must have taken the orientation class. Well, that's it for me today. I'm Peter Goodmanson. Stay strong, America.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show.
I mean, the guy was interesting and all, but what we really could have used was more B-roll. And that's tonight's word.
These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and
Hey, you want to see my Jon Stewart impression? This is my Jon Stewart impression. Well, let me give it to you straight. Here's my Bush impression. Yes, that's right. My Jon Stewart impression was Jon Stewart doing his Bush impression, because that's all he ever does.
they will get better.